I never would have thought that he would have been the first to get saved. I thought it was going to be my oldest son because he's the one who's been through a lot. But I thank God because he most definitely has a testimony as well. But I'm not going to delay. Amen. I'm trying to get all the butterflies out of his stomach right now. He told me he wasn't nervous, but I thank God for him as he brings the word. Amen.
Good evening. First, I would like to give the honor to my pastor and first lady. I'm honored to be given this opportunity to speak. I won't be before you long. I will be reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1 through 3. And this is from the Amplified. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1 through 3. And it reads, "If I can speak in the tongues of men and even of angels, but have no love, I am only a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all the secret truths and mysteries and possess all knowledge, and if I have faith so that I can remove mountains but have no love, I am nothing. If I dole out all that I have," meaning giving all your time and to the poor and to those less fortunate, and if I surrender my body to be burned or in order that I may glory, but have not love, I gain nothing. I'm just going to be real with y'all. Growing up, I never understood how, people in the church and people, they can say things and do things outside the church one minute and come into the church the next minute and, fall out and shout and do the whole thing. I never understood that. As a child, I thought that God accepted this type of thing. I thought he allowed this. I thought that you can be this type of person out the church and come into the church and it's acceptable to him. But it says, to God, you are only making noise. Last Sunday, Pastor preached, or he spoke about Saul and how he gave a sacrifice to God, and to God it was a strange noise. It even goes back to Genesis, and I read chapter 4, verse 5, and this is coming from God. But for Cain and his offering, he had no respect or regard. This shows me you can't come before God's presence any kind of way. And it's, I'm sorry to say this, but people mistreat people in the church. And, I came from the streets, and, I didn't get saved to come into the church to be treated worse than the people outside the church. And, I'm a quiet person, My mom says I don't speak a lot. I'm an observer. I took the one-on-one class with Sister Hart, and she says she's an observer. I'm an observer. I can sit in the room and watch my surroundings without talking, because learning from the streets, you can't walk in the room and start talking your mouth because you can get killed. So, I'm going off. I'm sorry. I'm going off, Patrick. Am I doing good? I'm sorry. And so the question comes up, what is this love that I need that is talking about in verse 1 through 3? How can my worship be not just making noise? And this is found in verse 4. I hope you guys save your place. In verse 4 through 7, this is still in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It says, love is patient. Love is not boastful. Love is kind. Love is never envious. Love is not conceited. And for the youth, this is for the youth. If he or she is conceited in your school, just walk away. It says, love does not insist in its own right, in its own way. It's not self-seeking. Love takes no account of evil done to it. It pays no attention to the suffered wrong. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Love is always ready to believe the best in every person. Its hopes are fadeless under all circumcisions. I'm sorry. And I'll close with this. We got to be real with God. You know, God sees and He hears all things. And you know, we can put up the show. You know, we can do all the shouting, but God knows the inner heart. He's the only one that knows the inner heart. He knows if you're real or faking, you know. And it's time to come together in unity. It's time for us to stand together in love, because that's the only way that your praise won't be hindered. Thank you for your time. God bless.